Hi, my name is Juliette, and I am a freshman in college and started struggling with acne about 6 months ago, and it got really bad. And I'm a dancer, so it was really sad for me because my face is part of my job, and so it was really taking a toll on my self-esteem. And so I tried all sorts of different things to cure it, and I even saw a dermatologist who put me on a lot of different topical medications and oral medications, oral antibiotics and topical antibiotics, and finally none of those were working, so she suggested I go on Accutane. But I didn't want to do that, and happened to hear about Nerida through my boyfriend's mother, who really is a fan of her videos. And so I contacted Nerida and was able to get an appointment with her, and I had one treatment with her already and have already just seen amazing results. She was able to tell me that my skin issues were caused through my diet and not really because of other issues that my dermatologist thought were the case. And so I'm here, and she's able to treat me again, and I'm really excited about it.
Hello and welcome to another Ask Nerida Joy video. I have a new model here today, and her name is Juliette, and I am super excited to be working with her. I did actually meet her 10 days ago, and I did a treatment on her. So this is her second facial she's had with me. If you look back at the photos, you can see how her skin was when I first saw her 10 days ago. And at that point, her skin was really red. It was so angry looking, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can help you. So we did a treatment on her. I did a lot of extractions on her cheeks 10 days ago, and what was interesting, if you see her forehead, and you'll see how her forehead looked in the first photos before I even touched her skin, you will see I did absolutely zero extractions. That was all scarring. So she did not have one blackhead on her forehead at all, nothing to be removed. And it was interesting to me because she had so much scarring. And what we did was I spoke to her about her foods. We did take her off certain foods, and that was
Peanut
butter,
eggs, tomato, citrus, and stay away from soy.
So we took her off that. She said to me today, when I just saw her now, that that she's feeling a lot better. And if you look at her skin from the first time, her skin is not as angry, and it looks so much better. So I'm really happy to see her today. I know we're going to really be able to nip this very quickly for her, and she's such a beautiful girl, and I'm just really excited. So we did no cleaning on her forehead at all last time. That was all scarring, and as I said, that's really interesting to me. So today, because her skin is still really clean, meaning she really doesn't have any extractions, I am going to go straight into a peel. So what I usually like to do when I do peels is I like to prep the skin, because if you prep the skin before you do a chemical peel, then you are going to get a much better peel. And sometimes that prep, like it was with Kelly and Daniela, it was several facials. But today, because Juliette's skin is, it's so clean, and her, her extractions, there's nothing coming up really underneath her skin too much. She's being really diligent with her eating now and staying away from those foods that we mentioned. And also her home care regimen. She was given some very basic, I think was it 3 or 4 items?
For a cleanser, the gel, the Q-flavonoid.
The Q-flavonoid.
And the serum.
And the serum. Okay, so very simple products, and this is where her skin is today, 10 days later. So it doesn't have to be that complicated when you're working with acne. You just want to make sure that you are treating the type of acne with the correct products, because there's so many different forms of acne, and some is from food related, some is actually from, you know, overactive sebaceous glands, and a lot of it, you know, if people are getting the hormonal painful nodules that we can get all through our life, I mean, there are triggers to that, and that could be something like stress, because stress, I always say, it's not just a word, it actually attacks your weakened organs. So when you get stressed, as I said, it's not just a word floating around out there, it actually attacks your weakened organs, and that could be your stomach, meaning that it doesn't, you know, the stress when it affects your stomach, that stops it from digesting properly. So before we get sort of started with the Maggie lamp, and I can just sort of really show you what Juliette's acne looks like on different levels, is, you know, as I said, we've noticed that it's really not as angry as it was 10 days ago when we first saw her. My first treatment I did, it was just, I worked in the flavonoid into her skin like I do. It's such an extraordinary product in how it heals the skin. We did extractions on her skin and then a mask, and then today we are going to be moving forward with doing a peel, a chemical peel. So it's not going to be too major. I can see her acne scars are not really deep, which is what's so great, because we are going to see very fast results with Juliette's skin as a result of that. So I'm going to bring the Maggie lamp over, and if you can bring the camera on over closely, and we can have a look at her skin really close up. So we're looking at her cheek and the scarring, and her skin is very clean underneath there, but she's just got that scarring there, and again on her forehead up here. Again, it's very clean. She's really good with her home care regimen. You can see she's keeping her skin really clean around the nose area. The pore size is so small, and that's what's so great, is she's really good with her regimen. So we've just finished looking through the Maggie lamp at Juliette's skin. And what's interesting about Juliette, unlike a lot of other people that have acne, is that she has next to no pores at all. If you look at her nose area and her chin, her pores are so tiny. She doesn't even have an abundance of blackheads there. So her area is really just around the outer areas of her face. And like I said earlier, her forehead is very clean. Like she doesn't have a lot of blackheads there. And the very first time that I did a treatment on her, it was no extractions on her forehead whatsoever. So we're going to get started. I'm going to cleanse off her skin. I'm going to do an exfoliant on her skin, work in the flavonoid, and massage it into the skin with some healing gel for a little bit, and then we're going to put the peel on her skin. So we shall get started. I'm so excited. Her skin feels really good. It's not bumpy. It feels very smooth under there since we did the extractions 10 days ago. Just feels really nice. So we're just doing the one cleanse, and now I'm going to put the exfoliant on the skin and just do a light little exfoliant, and that is going to be with the papaya-based exfoliant. It has a little lemon peel powder, it has a little bit of chamomile, and it does have glycolic, which is why she's going to feel a little tingling with it. So we are putting the exfoliant on Juliette's skin now. We've cleansed her skin. The exfoliant has the glycolic in it. It has a little papaya lemon peel powder. It has a little bit of chamomile in it. It's very soothing. It smells really nice, but she will be feeling a little bit of tingling on the skin. Glycolic acid is the smallest molecule of the alpha hydroxy acid groupings, and what that means is that it penetrates a little deeper. So all your different molecules of your alpha hydroxy acids, they're different weight and size, so they go to different levels in the skin. You have glycolic, which is the smallest, lactic acid is the next one, and then malic, tartaric, and citrus, and they are all different sizes and weights. And what's so great about working with a multiple array of the different acids is that you work on all the different levels in the skin. And that is super important, especially when you're dealing with scarring, because you want to make sure that you're healing all the levels in the skin, because scarring affects all the levels in the skin. and especially deeper scars. It affects all the levels, so you want to make sure that you're really getting to the levels deep down in the skin that can really help heal it. So a complex of AHAs is always really great. The exfoliating mask that we're going to take off shortly is only the glycolic molecule, but it does penetrate the deepest, and it's a wonderful exfoliant. It has a buffing effect on the epidermis, and it's really nice. So it's really good for melasma, it's good for scarring, it's good for dryness, surface dryness, where you can be oily underneath and dry on top. It just gets rid of that very dry outer layer and allows your treatment products to be better absorbed into the skin. So I always say that this type of exfoliant is what we call a surface regenerative. It has a buffing effect on the epidermis, and I generally recommend this type of exfoliant over anything scrubbing and granular. So now we're just taking the exfoliant off. It has that real buffing effect on the epidermis. We want to make sure we get under the fine facial hair, which we all have on these side areas, because there's a lot that catches underneath the hair, and it's really important to make sure when you're cleansing your face, when you're putting your treatment products on, your serums, that you're getting under the fine facial hair so that it's really working. Your products are really doing what they're supposed to be doing. So now I'm going to put the Q flavonoid on. The Q is this brownish coloured solution in my hand that is so wonderful. I use it just about on everybody, and if you've seen my videos you will all know that already. It is used because it is so healing on the skin. It's a thicker type of serum. It doesn't just go into the skin. You can feel that it leaves a little bit on top of the skin. It has arnica, it has vitamin K in it, it's got grapeseed extract, it's got all these wonderful ingredients, and because I've been using this line for so long, sometimes they change the ingredients slightly as new, more wonderful things come out. So this one here is used for scarring, it's used for melasma, it's used for wrinkles. It's so healing, and it really feeds the skin a lot of nutrients. And if you want to know why my clients that I treat, why their skin looks so good and so healthy and pretty, it's because you have to feed the skin nutrients. You can't just jump in and go doing really aggressive, strong treatments. You have to feed the skin as you go, because that's how the skin's going to be really pretty. And if you look back at some of the videos that we've done recently on a couple of the models, their skin just looks so beautiful and so healthy, and it's not that flat, dull look anymore. It's just beautiful. And it's hard not to say, wow, your skin looks so beautiful when you see them, because their skin is just so healthy, and it's so wonderful. So we're just working the flavonoid in just for a minute. It's just going to put a little coat on the skin, and I'm actually going to be removing it again shortly because I'm going to be putting the peel on. But I always like to put a little bit on, because it's going to just be a layer for that peel, for it not to be as burny and as stingy as I want it to be. It's just going to help the process. I don't want to go too deep too quickly, because, and especially on Juliette's skin, her scarring is not, it's not really deep. So I'm expecting, looking at her skin, and I told her this when I saw her today, that we, after 2 more treatments, her skin is going to be completely different. And I can't wait for you to see. So she's actually going to be flying back for her next one, because she's leaving tomorrow. And so we will have her back in 2 or 3 weeks again and do our next shoot then. So I'm going to take this off. I'm just going to get some clean water. So I'm just using my disposable sponges. We are just removing the very outer layer of the Q flavonoid that I put on, that wonderful serum that's loaded with so many vitamins and so many nutrients, and I love it. I use it myself every night at the moment. I like to change up my serums depending on the season, and I'm really enjoying the flavonoid. It supports little blood vessels too, and you find nowadays that most people they're so sensitive, you know, and they have ruddiness, whether it be just blood vessels around the nose. It's not going to make them disappear, but what it is going to do is it's going to strengthen that capillary wall and stop leakage. So when you see somebody that's got like a burst blood vessel and you see all those little lines that come out from it, that's what we call a spider nevi. And those ones have to be zapped with your dermatologist. That's the only way to get rid of them. But what the flavonoid does is it prevents further damage and further breakage later on in life, because as we get older, our skin gets thinner, and often if we get fluidy too, as we get older, it pushes the capillaries up to the surface. So it really constricts the blood vessels, and it often, people get really ruddy as they get older too, just from fluid, from age, from sun. So all of these reasons. So the Q flavonoid really just helps support the blood vessel wall, and that's super important. The wonderful thing about the Q flavonoid too is that you can use it around your eyes, because if you stretch the skin close up around the eye, darkness, when people have a shadow, if you stretch that skin, you'll see it's that bluey vein that's there very often. Sometimes it is also allergies, food allergies. Sometimes it is lack of sleep, and sometimes it's just hereditary. But either way, the Q flavonoid will help any of those that I just mentioned to you. People that do have darkness around the eyes. It's just such a wonderful product. Oh my gosh. Have I talked about it enough? Just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to put the peel on. I'm going to do one coat.
This is the wasabi and fire peel.
Oh, yeah, that's what she said, wasn't it? That's what Kelly called it, remember? So funny. That's funny. So we have the pre-peel solution that I'm going to put on. I put some on some cotton. I'm just going to put one coat all over Juliette's skin, and that's going to stop the peel that I'm going to do, the chemical peel, from being a really strong peel, because I don't want to do a super duper strong one on Juliette. It's just not necessary. And I'm also one who doesn't believe in going too strong anyway. I would prefer to have my client come more often and do lighter peels, because that way I'm not going to cause any scar tissue, and I'm going to have a really pretty skin come the end of the peel, and people will not know she's ever had acne. So that's the type of, look at that smile. Isn't that so exciting? I know, I'm so excited for you. So again, we're going upward motions here on the sides of the face, just to make sure I get under that fine facial hair. I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute. We're just going to fan a tab here so we can get through these layers. And what's really important is when you're actually applying the pre-peel or the peel, it's important that you don't have a fan blowing, even though their skin is stinging a little bit at that time when you're putting it on, because it dries up the alcohol. So you don't want to have that fan blowing while you're applying the applications of the peel. And I'm using my little New Beauty fanner here. Okay, so now we are going to put on the peel. I've got the peeling formula in here. This is, it has resorcinol in it, it has lactic acid in it, and it is a chemical peel. So the applications are, everyone's different. You don't really know until you go to apply the peel how many coats you're going to do, but what you do want to do is once the skin gets white, it becomes blanched, and then you know the skin is now saturated. So we're going to start, it's very important when you're working with the peel that you make sure your client's eyes are closed and you are not maneuvering anything over the eye area where anything can get in her eyes, where it could be a problem. So it's very important that you stay conscious of where you have your solution and what you're doing and how you're applying it. So I'm going to do it with cotton, because if I use Q-tips, it takes me too long to get it on, and I want to get it on as quickly as possible so that we have an even coating here. So we're going to put this on. Now what I will say to you is that if you get it on your own fingers, your fingers are going to feel funny for several days. So you might want to wear gloves if you prefer when you're putting this on, this application. It's up to you. I have, and I prefer not to, because I feel I have more control just with my own bare hands putting the peeling on her skin. So I'm not actually doing that. She's not going to feel anything for just a little bit. She might start to sort of feel it shortly. It's going to start to burn. So we've applied one application of the peel already, She's going to start to feel it tingling on her skin right now. The interesting thing, as I mentioned earlier about Juliette's skin, which is unusual, is that she's not really oily. If you saw the size of her pores, there's nothing there. I mean, it's really interesting, and it's interesting for you to sort of to know and understand that someone who has acne, this is when I say that it's not always from oil. And just from Juliette going off certain foods, which she's only been doing since I saw her for the last 10 days, her skin used to be so angry when I saw her. It was so red, and it looked so painful to look at. So now you can see she doesn't have the ruddiness. So this is what's so important to understand, that, you know, acne doesn't always equal hormones. There's different types of acne, and so many different types. And as I said, her pore size down her nose, there's nothing. It's absolutely, there's nothing there. So her skin is really, it's just that outer area. And I know her forehead is going to be so different after the peel. The cheeks are going to take a little longer to heal because she has a little bit more of the hormonal acne there. The forehead, though, is just scarring and ruddiness. So we'll see next shoot, we'll be able to see how quickly the forehead heals. But that is going to heal very, very quickly. So we're going to go now on with our, just a little fan here in between. And again, okay, now we're going to go with our second application of the peel. Are you starting to feel it already? Mm-hmm. Wonderful, okay.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad, okay, well that's good. So this is now coat number 2. I'm not going to be talking too much when I'm putting it on because I need to be paying attention. Whenever you do a chemical peel, it doesn't always peel at the same time everywhere. So the areas that peel first is around the mouth, and sometimes they're bigger sheets around the mouth that actually peel off. The sides are often not huge sheets of skin that come off. It's just mostly around the mouth, so it does peel differently everywhere on the face. And sometimes when you do a peel on somebody, sometimes they peel a lot, and maybe you do another peel on them a month later, and the next time they don't peel so much, and yet you may have done even more applications a second time. So it's not, you know, the skin will do what it's going to do, but what's really important is that you prep the skin. You don't just rush in to do a peel straight away without prepping it prior to your peel, because that's how you're going to get better results if you do that way. Okay, so that's coat number 2. She's going to start to feel it burn more as we go.
Yep, we're at the wasabi and fire stage.
Yes, did you hear what she said? She's feeling it. Kelly will be out there going, yeah, I remember that. I know what she's going through.
But look how good she's doing now.
Yes, exactly. She looks beautiful. Stunning. So we've just put coat number 3 on her skin. And I'm now not going to do any more around her nose. We're going to be focusing more heavily on the cheeks and the forehead, because we've done 3 coats everywhere, but we are going to focus more now on just the cheeks and the forehead. And it's drying quite quickly in between coats. So now we're putting on coat number 4. She's starting to turn a little pink here, and she's going to be really on fire. So we've applied coat number 4, and for the next 3 days after she leaves here, she's just going to be using 2 products, and that is the K cleanser and the healing gel. And she can cleanse her skin as much as she likes, because once this is on, it's not going to come off. So we put coat number 4 on her skin. She is not going to be able to work out too much for the next 3 days until her skin starts to physically peel. Now, the great thing about when your skin starts to physically peel, it happens very quickly. So between day 3 and day 5, a lot of activity is going to be going on, a lot of peeling. And the reason why I say not to work out while the peel is on for the first 3 days is because the skin can't breathe. So if little pimples and things come up underneath and you're sweating, it can't get out, it can't go anywhere because you have a coating on the skin, which is the peel, the resorcinol and the lactic acid. So we're now putting on the next coat, which is going to be coat number 5. So we just got to make sure we get under that hair, that fine facial hair down here on the sides with the peel. Her skin is getting quite pink, as you can see from the peel, but it has not started to blanch yet. So we are going to keep going with our layers until she starts blanching. Okay, I take that back. She is starting to blanch on her right cheek a little bit, so that's good. So we're probably going to do another 3 or 4 more coats on her skin looking at it. Coat number 6. Yeah, more fire. Juliette saying more fire. Yeah. So as you can see, she's getting quite red. Coat number 7. Her skin right now should be starting to get numb, which means she's not going to feel it too much anymore.
Yay.
I'm just going to make sure that we're getting down there where we need to underneath the neckline too. So she's blanching now. She's starting to blanch. Coat number 8. So this is coat number 8 that we have on her skin. And she's blanching here. She's starting to get a little white and frosty looking, we call it. Coat number 9. Just wanted to get a little bit more frosty before we stop. Are you feeling it much now, or is it numbed? You're still feeling it? How's it feeling? Still feeling it's on fire?
A little,
yeah. A little bit, okay. Coat number 10. So this is coat number 10 we're putting on, and she's quite red, as you can see. And we're just wanting it to get a little bit more frosty. I think this might be the last one. I go once across there. Yeah. Now what's important is whatever you put your peeling formula in, it's I like to use the disposable little cups, and sometimes I have the smaller ones. Sometimes if I'm using Q-tips around specific areas, it's nice to have the smaller disposable cup. The one that I used was a larger cup today, and but you do need to be able to throw it out, because those types of solutions, you don't want to try cleaning them in case there's something left, some residue, and then you go to use it on a client with something else later. It would not be good. So it's good to just have little disposable containers that you can dice after you've had the peeling formula in there, or any of your acids, because they're quite strong, so you don't want to mess with them. So we've got 10 coats on Juliette's skin, and this is the peeling formula. And we're just going to let this dry for a minute longer, and then I'm just going to be quickly putting on a little mask, just working it into her skin for just not even a minute. And then she's going to be going home, and this is how she's going to be until I see her again in a couple of weeks. So what Juliette is to expect is for the next 3 days. Tomorrow her skin is going to start, it'll be a little bit red. I always say it looks like that snow skier kind of look, where the skin's a little reddish brown, and then it will start to tighten. So by day 2 her skin is going to start to feel quite tight. By day 3 it's going to feel very tight, especially around the mouth, so when you go to eat it's a little uncomfortable. We haven't done too much on her chin because she doesn't have even large pores there, or above her lip or on her nose, and I've only done a few coats on those areas. and but she will notice she's going to start to peel around her mouth, the outer part where the nasolabial lines are first, and it's going to be a larger peel in that area. That will start happening at about in about 4 days. And then day 4, 5, and 6 is where she's going to shed most of her peel. And come day 8, 9, 10, she'll just have little tiny bits that are left. But it does take a little while for the skin to sort of get that glow back. It can take, I usually tell people, about 10 days and their skin's going to look really good once they can start working their treatment products back into their skin. So just until she peels off pretty much, she's just going to be using the cleanser and the healing gel. It's a non-foaming gel cleanser, and she can apply the healing gel 10, 20 times a day if she wants to. The skin, when it gets tight, it does get itchy, and it's important that you do not help it peel. So don't peel the little bits off, because that can cause scarring. And you also want to be careful that you're not in the sun too much, because with when you do a peel on the skin, obviously the skin becomes a little more photosensitive, especially once the new skin underneath is visible. And so it's really important that you're very diligent in just how you take care of your skin from the actual sun. So I'm just removing the residue of the peel with cooler towels, and I'm going to be putting some healing gel on Juliette's skin, and then we're going to just ice for a minute, because her skin will be very stingy right now. So the quicker the skin peels, it's better. And you want the skin to physically peel because it's what helps scarring. So that's why peels are so great. It's great that you can clean up the skin and get rid of the acne, most of the acne, before you do a peel, so that you get rid of a lot of the infection, and then you go ahead and you do the peels, and that's what really smooths the surface out and gets rid of a lot of the little tiny indents and the discoloration. So we're going to be putting this on her skin right now. Ice, okay. And it's going to feel very cold, obviously, so I'm going to move it around on her skin quite quickly. That's it. And that just takes the bite out of her skin. Now I'm going to put another coat of the healing gel on her skin, and that's going to soak into her skin, and she's going to go home. It's quite late at night over here, so she will be going to bed as is. And when she wakes up in the morning, she will just cleanse her skin once with the cleanser and just rinse it, and she'll be putting on the healing gel all throughout the day. So it's important that you don't use moisturizer, even though over the next few days the skin is going to feel tight. You're going to want to feel like you want to put moisturizer on, but it's really important that you don't, because you want the skin to physically peel. If you wear makeup and if you wear sunscreen every day with a peel underneath it, it's also going to stop the skin from peeling quickly. So you want to just try to keep it as clean as possible and just work with the healing gel and the K cleanser. So she's all done. I'm going to put a little bit of eye gel around her eyes, and she has been such a trooper today. But I can't wait to see her skin next time. It's going to be amazing. No double dipping. We're just using the other end of the Q-tip, and this is just an eye gel. So we don't, I just want to put it around here, because obviously we have not put the peel up close to her eyes, and that's all just going to soak in. So she's all done. Thank you for watching another episode of Ask Nerida Joy, and we will be back to see Juliette in 2 weeks, and I can't wait for you to see, and I can't wait to see her skin too. So we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.